Genesis 1, verses 6 through 8. And God said, Let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let us separate the waters from the waters. And God made the expanse that separated the waters that were under the expanse from the waters that are above the expanse. And it was so. And God called the expanse heaven. And there was evening and there was morning the second day. Now, it didn't just say, and God said, let there be an expanse. It went on to say that God made the expanse. So it was very distinct that God didn't just say it and then we had some entity that created it. God created it himself. So that's important to note that there's two separate verses about that. Now the water in the sky versus the water in the seas, that's what we're talking about here. When they say the expanse separated the were under and the ones that were above. Because you may sit there and wonder, well, what's the difference between them? I'll cover in a little bit how much water we actually have in the atmosphere and so forth. But you realize that there is a distinction between the two. Now, when they talk about heaven, we're talking about the sky or firmament, and that's what we see above us. When they talk about the ocean, the seas, they also may include rivers, oceans, all your bodies of water on the earth. And then up above, that might be debatable on what that truly means, but you can think of it as a part that's in the atmosphere. I read one commentary that went into quite a bit of detail that talked about the different scientific names, and we don't know which part that we're referring to. But again, you don't want to go too far into the weeds on that. Trying to think about what exact part of the atmosphere are they talking about. Now, when they're talking about heaven, they're not talking about the place where God resides. If we look at Psalm 123, 1 through 2, to you I lift up my eyes, O you who are enthroned in the heavens. Behold, as in the eyes of servants, look to the hand of the master, in the eyes of a maidservant to the hand of her mistress. So our eyes look to the Lord our God till he has mercy upon us. See here, they're talking about you who are enthroned in the heavens. So we're not talking about the resting place, the where God is. We're talking about what separates the two, and then they're very clear about that this is a physical separation, not the home of God. Not that necessarily that's the home of God, but that's where God resides. So if we are talking about moisture, because we don't really think, we look up in the sky and think, was there moisture up there? I'm sure there's rain, right? Sun, and so forth. I looked up this information, how much moisture is in the atmosphere. 0.001% of the total water on the planet is what's up in the atmosphere. If it all were to fall, then we'd have a layer 1 inch thick across the world. Now you might think, well, one inch, that isn't a whole lot of rain. Well, yeah, but think about it covering everything. So it's quite a bit up there, even though it's just 0.001. You know, God's creation is so much based upon water. We see that in different verses in the creation where they're, you might think, well, it should not be a secondary thing. We created Earth and do some water on afterwards. Well, if you look at the average, and these again, information I've looked up, the average male, 60% of us are water. The rest of it's all the other creation matter. The female is 55%. Your brain and heart alone are composed of 73% water. Your lungs are 83% water. So how much water is there? Well, I went to the beach and saw some water there. Went to the lake. I haven't been on a cruise. Some of you have been on a cruise, like, I have a better feeling for how much water there really is. Well, again, I looked up the numbers. I think it's a guesstimate. I don't think they have any exact way to know how much there really is. But the oceans have 351.9 quintillion gallons of water. I don't know what a quintillion is, but that sounds like a really huge number. I'd like to have that many dollars, quintillion dollars. Um, that was 3.519 times 10 to the 20th gallons. 10 to the 20th is you move your decimal place 20 places to the right. So we got 3519 and 17 zeros. Lots of gallons. One thing to keep in mind is that one commentary referred to this to really point out that God controls weather, not the sky. A lot of the ancient religions, the false ones, believed that the sky controlled it. And I suppose in a way, perhaps we might think that with our science. But if you think about the rain falling the exact right time, that's always just amazed me. We always get the rain when we need it. Maybe not when we want it, but imagine if it didn't rain for 3 years. Now, what would your country look like? Everything be dead, right? Um, I know eventually the water table and our irrigation efforts would fail and then would be in bad shape. I remember where I live at one point in time. They're talking that the water was going to run out within, I don't know, maybe 5 years or so. There's a lake where we get our water from is from a couple of huge lakes, and the water level is way down on those. Yeah, that's kind of upsetting to me because I like bathing, so I know there'd probably be bottled water you could bring in and so forth, but not to mention it'd be a pretty desolate area. Well, they were just saying that to get something passed law-wise, but gives you a better perspective of the how much God takes care of us by bringing us the rain when we need it. Now, this is out of Psalms 104, 1 through 3. Bless the Lord, O my soul. O God, my Lord, you are very great. You are clothed with splendor and majesty, covering yourself with light as with a garment, stretching out to heavens like a tent. He lays the beams of his chambers on the waters. This really doesn't have a whole lot to do with this. I just love that symbolism. We're not talking about heaven, heaven where God's abode is, being above the clouds, but the heavens is kind of symbolized as being up in the sky, and it's not really. It's because it's not in a physical realm. And so when we think of like Jesus transcending up into the clouds, it isn't that that's where this big palace is and so forth. But I love the visual on this, the beams of his chambers on the waters. Water is a fundamental part of our creation, and I really enjoyed the verses here because they really you have to visualize it. Just like you're reading a history book, you have to visualize it, or it's the excitement isn't there, the power, the glory of God. But if you visualize this water and maybe kind of all over the place, and then God creating it, and still it's still got the power of water where it's kind of flowing all around, and the creation that goes along with it is just probably better than any movie you'd see in Hollywood.